Legends are not always whispered by elders. They sometimes roar in the very air, carrying the weight of decisions that shake the heavens themselves. In recap, Tales of Herding Gods, Chapter 1107-1111, Mother Earth stands on a knife's edge, forced by Heaven Duke's cunning promise and deadly threat, while eternal peace hums with fevered creation. Across the shipyards, divine weapons, each a marvel of runes, formations, and primordial essence, await their awakening, yet tremble under the might of the village chief's soon-to-be-forged sword. As hammers strike and vital chi flows, the city holds its breath, for the unsheathing of a weapon may not just prove mastery, but rend the very air and shatter all that stands nearby. What tremors lie ahead when steel and spirit collide at such unimaginable heights? Imagine standing at the edge of creation itself, watching a force so potent it bends the very laws of heaven and earth. Today, we witness a moment in the saga of eternal peace that is not just about forging weapons. It's about ambition, mastery, and the fragile boundary between mortal effort and divine potential. In this episode, the tension begins with Mother Earth herself, cornered by the cunning and relentless Heaven Duke. She faces an impossible choice: act and risk annihilation by the ancestral god king, or refuse and watch cosmic strategies unfold without her. Her decision, fueled by anger and survival instinct, sets in motion a chain reaction that will ripple across the celestial realms. Meanwhile, back at the riverbank shipyards of eternal peace, a different kind of storm brews. Qinmu and Ling Yushu return to the scene where the disabled elderly village has gathered its finest minds: village chief, blind, mute, and the rest. Here, the focus is not battle, but creation, the alchemy of divine weapons, and the pinnacle of cultivation craftsmanship. Materials flow in from the heavens, teleportation formations hum with energy, and every artisan contributes to an intricate dance of power, precision, and Tao alignment. What makes this scene so remarkable isn't just the forging of weapons, it's the demonstration of microscopic mastery. Village Chief's sword, for example, isn't simply a blade. It's a convergence of microscopic algebra, divine runes, and formation techniques. Each particle of divine gold is inscribed with the essence of the sword Tao itself. The process demands more than skill. It demands the very essence of the cultivator: vital chi, spirit, consciousness, and soul energy, fused into a tangible object. This is why even beings like Village Chief exhaust themselves repeatedly. The sword is not just a weapon. It is a vessel of human and heavenly potential. The collaboration between mute, blind, and the others illustrates the genius of Eternal Peace's reform. By combining formation expertise, refined hammers, and the disciplined guidance of masters, they create instruments capable of contending with celestial forces. Qinmu observes, absorbing lessons not just in forging, but in the philosophy of cultivation itself. Every runic imprint, every swing of the hammer, is a meditation on power, control, and intention. After days of painstaking work, the sword is ready, but testing it proves its terrifying truth. Village Chief attempts to unsheath the weapon, only to realize its presence alone threatens to annihilate nearby divine artifacts. Blind and mute act as both advisors and guardians, guiding him higher and higher until even the very air trembles under the sword's potential. When finally drawn, the sword's aura shatters nearby divine weapons, a visual testament to the blade's overwhelming Tao power. Here, the narrative delivers a powerful lesson. The creation of true power is both art and peril. Village Chief's sword doesn't just exceed his own strength. It challenges every surrounding divine implement, forcing all within its sphere to acknowledge its dominion. We see how mastery is inseparable from danger, how ambition and precision must balance with restraint, or risk total devastation. From a cultivation standpoint, this moment highlights the difference between raw talent and integrated mastery. Village Chief channels not just physical energy, but a fusion of Tao comprehension, runic alignment, and formation stabilization. Every crack and shattered weapon in the shipyard is proof that true power cannot be contained by conventional structures. It reacts, it transforms, it demands recognition. And yet, amidst the chaos, there is exhilaration. Village Chief feels rejuvenated, younger, more alive with the sword in hand. It's a reminder that in Xianxia, power is not merely destructive, it is also transformative. Weapons here are extensions of their cultivators' hearts and ambitions, amplifying not just force, but identity. As we step back, the episode leaves us with questions that echo through the cosmos. How will such power alter the balance in eternal peace? Can mortal ingenuity, guided by divine principles, withstand the watchful eyes of the heavens? And what of Mother Earth, whose reluctant choice is already reshaping fates beyond comprehension? In essence, this chapter isn't just about forging a sword. It's about witnessing the delicate, dangerous, and dazzling interplay between cultivation, artistry, and the relentless push toward Tao transcendence. The sword is complete, but the story, like the heavens themselves, is far from settled. Imagine stepping into a forge where the very air hums with the tension of creation, where hammers strike like drum beats of destiny, and every spark could be the birth of a legend. That's where we find our young cultivator, Qin Mu, standing amid the chaotic brilliance of disabled elderly village, a place where ordinary limitations dissolve in the fire of ingenuity and sheer will. The chapter opens not with a fight or a prophecy, but with a spectacle of reckoning. Village chief, arrogant and self-assured, presents his prized sword to Blind, who teases him about its flaws. What follows is not just a scuffle. It's a ritualized chaos, a release of pent-up frustration and rivalry. Every punch and kick from the village elders, and even Qin Mu himself, isn't merely physical. It's symbolic. It represents the raw honesty of the village's ethos. Strength tempered by discipline, authority challenged by merit, and respect earned through daring action. This moment is critical because it establishes the social dynamics of the village. Even a figure as imposing as village chief is not above scrutiny or consequence, highlighting the balance of power and honor in this microcosm of the Xianxia world. Once order is restored, the story transitions to the meticulous, almost sacred process of forging divine treasures. Granny C's Tao wheel becomes the focal point of tension. The villagers know its destructive potential, and Qin Mu's quick use of teleportation to shield her demonstrates both his skill and his foresight. Here, the narrative doesn't just show his growing power, it emphasizes strategic intelligence. In Xianxia terms, understanding the enemy, or even your allies, is as vital as raw cultivation. A misstep here could have spelled disaster, and Qin Mu's interventions underscore his emerging role as both protector and strategist. The dialogue about Gong Sunyan is brief but revealing. Qin Mu reports her cultivation status. She is in the true god realm, yet her strength rivals the top of the emperor's throne realm. Granny C's reaction exposes a fundamental truth of this universe. Cultivation level is not always a linear measure of power. Talent, heritage, and latent magical potential complicate the equations of might, making the task of guidance perilous. This isn't just exposition. It's a reflection on how power is assessed and the inherent risks of mentoring prodigies in a realm where unchecked ability can be catastrophic. But it's in the forging scenes that this chapter truly shines. We watch Qin Mu learning not merely through replication, but through comprehension of the very essence of creation. Mute's philosophy is profound. They lack the power of ancient gods, yet through perseverance, intellect, and passion, they manifest heavenly works. This is where Xianxia storytelling intersects with real human emotion. These masters turn limitations into artistry. They teach that mastery is not about shortcuts or inherited privilege, but about aligning spirit, intention, and skill. Qin Mu's methodical study of materials, judging their attributes, temperament, and synergy, shows a rare cultivation of the mind, the heart, and the Tao. He doesn't just forge with hands, he forges with perception, intuition, and an almost romantic appreciation for the intrinsic beauty of the materials. It's as if each weapon becomes a living entity, a reflection of character and cosmic balance. His use of the Overlord Body 3 elixir technique to fuse vital chi and consciousness into his forging further illustrates a transcendent truth. True mastery bridges the physical and the metaphysical. The commentary here is essential. Qin Mu's approach contrasts sharply with many in the Xianxia world, who rely on brute power or secret techniques. By combining observation, analysis, and creativity, he elevates forging into a Tao practice, showing viewers that cultivation isn't just about strength. It's about comprehension, empathy, and harmonizing one's inner rhythms with the universe. As the chapter closes, we see Qin Mu's spirit elevated, his essence intertwined with the forging process, and even Mute and Blind, rugged, unflinching masters, watch with a mixture of pride and concern. They are not afraid he will fail. They fear he may outpace the lessons they can provide. This is a subtle but powerful commentary on mentorship and legacy. The student may surpass the master, but only if the foundation is solid. So, as the fire dies down and sparks settle in the shipyard, we are left with more than a tale of forging weapons. We see the emergence of a young cultivator who blends intellect with instinct, heart with hammer, Tao with dedication. And for us, the audience, the question lingers. When Qin steps fully into the broader world, where both treasures and terrors await, will he continue to balance his ingenuity with the relentless demands of power, or will the fire of ambition consume him first? Imagine standing before a forge where the very essence of heaven and earth bends to a mortal's will. That's where we find Qin, not just hammering metal, but imprinting the cosmos itself onto his creation. This isn't simple craftsmanship. This is the collision of a young cultivator's ambition with the vast, untamed forces of the universe. At first glance, it seems he's merely shaping a sword. But as Blind and Mute watch, they quickly realize that Qin forging transcends the physical. His comprehension, his spirit, even his Tao heart, all are poured into the weapon. Halos swirl, ancient godlike figures shimmer into view, and the echoes of primordial Tao resonate through every strike of his hammer. Each motion fuses his mastery of divine arts and great Tao runes into microscopic particles, embedding his understanding of existence itself into the blade. And yet, here's the key. Perfection is a dangerous pursuit. Despite days of painstaking work, when Qin delivers the final blow, the sword shatters. Not in failure, but in revealing a truth often overlooked in cultivation and creation. Completeness cannot outpace personal growth. Blind realizes it immediately. Qin had attempted to fuse 15 Emperor's Throne techniques into a single weapon. The sword, magnificent though it was, could not bear the weight of unmastered skills. Mute steps in, turning this moment of apparent failure into revelation. A divine weapon's true power is not in its perfection, but in its capacity to grow alongside its wielder. The broken sword becomes the Tao sword, an instrument designed to evolve as Qin refines his techniques and comprehension of the great Tao. This moment is crucial because it encapsulates a central truth of wuxia and xianxia philosophy. The weapon is an extension of the cultivator. Qin ambition to imprint his soul and Tao on the sword reflects both his potential and his impatience. Each morphing form of the blade, flowing water, dragon spear, shifting length, is a mirror of his current state of mastery. The incomplete techniques manifest as imperfections in the weapon, and yet those imperfections are precisely what allow the sword to grow in power and versatility. Here, we see the delicate balance between ambition and capability. Qin drive to forge a divine weapon that embodies all his powers is heroic, but also a lesson in restraint. His realization, guided by Mute's wisdom, teaches viewers that in cultivation, and perhaps in life, pushing beyond one's current capacity without proper foundation can lead to temporary collapse. But from that collapse, evolution emerges. The broken sword isn't defeat. It's the seed of limitless potential. And just as this personal trial concludes, the narrative expands again to cosmic scales. Dutian Devil King arrives, triumphant after 5 years of conquering the heavenly feather world. Qin, now tempered by both his forging and self-reflection, hands over the bottle of flask world. A simple act, yet monumental, Qin elevates Dutian Devil King to the mastery of a heaven itself. The bottle transforms into a colossal treasure, starlight streaming like tides, a tangible bridge between effort, achievement, and destiny. What's remarkable here is how these threads, personal cultivation, ambition, and cosmic responsibility, intertwine. Qin broken blade mirrors his internal state, while the flask world showcases the consequences of his mentorship and vision. The story reminds us that in the realm of gods and mortals, true mastery is as much about self-awareness and growth as it is about raw power. So, the question lingers for the audience. When you face your own divine weapon, that moment of creation or challenge in life, do you chase perfection too fast, or do you allow growth to shape you? Qin journey suggests that the latter is the path to legacy, to a weapon, and a self that can truly stand the test of heaven and earth. Imagine a world where entire realms can be bottled, a universe condensed into a single vessel, holding the power of creation itself. Today, our story ventures into that very marvel, the flask world, a treasure of such magnitude that even seasoned masters of creation regard it as a heaven above heavens. But it's more than a divine artifact. It's a crucible of consciousness, a weapon that can turn the tide of battles for those who dare wield it. Chinmu, ever the strategist, gifted this bottle of flask world to the Dudutian Devil King, not out of obligation, but friendship. And yet, power alone isn't enough. The Devil King, having endured the annihilation of Dutian world and countless personal sacrifices, now stands at the edge of potential. He knows that possessing the flask world is not merely a gift, it's a responsibility, a tool to consolidate his people and defend against the chaos that forever lurks at the edges of existence. Before this, the Dutian Devil King had already displayed remarkable cunning. When the heavenly feather world was occupied by devils, he didn't rush headlong into battle. Instead, he infiltrated their stronghold, learned their secret arts, and spent years decoding the enemy's techniques. This patience allowed him, alongside Yu Zhaoqing and her followers, to strike with lethal precision later, wiping out the devils in a single, calculated year-long campaign. It's a classic example of the Xianxia principle. Victory lies not just in raw strength, but in understanding both yourself and your opponent. Notice the subtlety here. Dutian Devil King's growth isn't just martial, it's moral and strategic. Early on, he clashed with the three Dragon Dao brothers, suffering humiliation and injury. But those tensions evolved into mutual respect, even life-saving alliances. It's a reminder that in these immortal tales, relationships are as potent a weapon as any divine sword. Meanwhile, Chinmu orchestrates the next moves with his characteristic foresight. The 9 heavenly dragons, beings of immense knowledge and power, decide to remain in the flask world, knowing the celestial heavens could endanger them. Chinmu removes their names from the life and death book, a dramatic gesture illustrating both his authority and his understanding of loyalty and survival. The act isn't mere generosity, it's strategic, preserving allies while securing the stability of eternal peace. Yet, the narrative tension deepens when Chinmu turns his attention to the glassy sky pagoda. Here, 2 ancient god eggs speak in strange Taoic voices, suggesting that life and intelligence stirs within them. This revelation isn't trivial. Ancient celestial emperors have historically reshaped worlds through sheer will. If these eggs hatch and their occupants cooperate, the potential danger could eclipse anything Chinmu has faced before. His caution is not paranoia. It's survival wisdom. The unfolding intelligence hints at future conflicts that may test even the limits of celestial understanding. As Chinmu prepares to journey to the celestial heavens, accompanied by the dragon Qilin and Yaner, the story shifts to the grandeur of divine industry. The Patriarch Creation Palace looms, a shipyard for the celestial heavens, where gods with 3 heads and 6 arms forge weapons of unimaginable might. Every hammer strike is thunder incarnate, a symphony of creation and destruction. Here, the scale of cultivation and craftsmanship stretches our imagination, illustrating that in Xianxia worlds, labor and devotion are as sacred as martial prowess. The creation divine weapon at the heart of the palace foreshadows challenges and revelations yet to come, reminding us that even the celestial venerables are part of a much larger cosmic machinery. What stands out in this chapter isn't just the accumulation of artifacts and divine techniques. It's the interplay of intellect, patience, and moral calculus. Chinmu's maneuvers, the Devil King's strategic patience, and the awakening of ancient god eggs all serve as a meditation on power. The strongest cultivator isn't merely the one who wields the sharpest sword, but the one who comprehends the currents beneath the surface of heaven, earth, and consciousness itself. And so, as our carriage crosses the spirit energy mutual shift bridge toward the Patriarch Creation Palace, we are left with an unsettling question. What conversations unfold within those ancient god eggs, and how will their awakening ripple across the realms? One thing is certain, when intelligence predates life itself, the line between friend and threat blurs, and destiny shifts in ways even the most enlightened cannot predict. Imagine standing before a colossal machine, older than most civilizations, its 8 massive wheels interlocked like some divine clockwork. This was no ordinary weapon. It was the creation divine weapon, a relic of the Heaven-Han celestial heavens, capable of shaping life itself. Every rune carved into its spinning wheels wasn't just decoration. They were conduits of the great Tao, channels through which the power of creation itself surged. The city around it, Jade Capital, was alive with thousands of heavenly furnaces, each pumping energy into the machine, demanding every ounce of celestial power to awaken its purpose. Qinmu's heart raced as he watched from afar. This wasn't merely a display of power. It was a deliberate act of creation, a forging of a being that could rival the ancient gods themselves. And then he saw it. The Grand Duke of Jupiter, oblivious, placed at the heart of the machine, becoming the vessel for transformation. The wheels turned, the runes ignited, and under the relentless brilliance, his form began to shift. Limbs, head, and torso reshaped by the laws of the universe itself. Some of these runes weren't mere patterns of life. They bore the ancient power of South deity Zhu Kui, imbuing the new form with the essence of a god. Here's where the story deepens. The celestial heavens weren't simply reviving a deity, they were crafting a divine weapon in living form. Think about that for a moment. A being shaped not by birth, but by purpose. Intended to wield the full weight of Zhu Kui's great Tao, the vermilion bird's sacred fire danced around this nascent deity, a visual testament to the overwhelming spiritual energy and the sheer scale of power involved. Qinmu's shock was not just about the spectacle, it was the realization of intent. The celestial venerables were creating avatars of the deities, instruments of war, meant to conquer the great void. This was strategy on a cosmic scale, forging perfection to suppress chaos, turning gods into tools. And the implications go deeper. The Grand Duke's transformation shows us something crucial about cultivation in this universe. True power isn't just learned. It can be imprinted, grafted onto a body through the machinery of creation. The great Tao isn't a path walked alone. It can be woven into flesh, accelerating potential beyond natural limits. Qinmu's observation of runes resembling the great Tao of South deity. Zhu Kui reveals a deliberate enhancement. These divine weapons are not just copies. They're optimized, fortified with the essence of the original deity's power, designed to surpass their predecessors in strength and efficiency. The narrative also teases larger celestial politics. The celestial venerables are orchestrating these creations after a bitter loss in the Great Void. They require divine weapons because conventional armies cannot survive its peculiar dangers. Qinmu learns of the Emperor of Endless Clouds, a rebel who once tamed the Great Void, a hint that mastery of this place is as much about cunning and innovation as raw strength. And now, disciples and secret maps come into play, showing that strategy, inheritance, and knowledge are just as vital as martial prowess in the cosmos. As they move closer to the numinous Sky Hall, Qinmu's interaction with Gongsun Yan highlights another layer, the unseen power that lies within bloodline and divine treasures. Her vital qi, vast as a primordial ocean, reminds us that the universe's true strength often lies in what cannot be measured or manufactured, a contrast to the creation divine weapon, which mechanizes creation itself. The tension between innate power and artificially forged might becomes a central theme here, making every move in the Jade Capital City loaded with both spectacle and consequence. So, what does this mean for the story moving forward? The celestial venerables are creating not just weapons, but living embodiments of the deities, an army designed to challenge the Great Void. Qinmu's journey now intersects with these plans, giving him a rare glimpse into the interplay between creation, strategy, and divine ambition. As he guides Gongsun Yan into the hall, we are reminded that even in a world of forged gods, the choices of individual cultivators, their insight, courage, and vision, can tip the balance of heaven itself. And the lingering question, the one that chills the spine, is this. If the celestial venerables can forge deities as weapons, then what truly defines a god? Is it their origin, their essence, or the will that wields them? In the universe of Tales of Herding Gods, that answer is as dangerous as it is elusive.